You spend your whole life working, saving, raising a family, and then one day, it gets quiet. Too quiet. Retirement is supposed to be the reward, right? But what if it feels like you're drifting instead of living? I'm 70 years old now, and I've learned that happiness in retirement doesn't come from a big house or a fat savings account. It comes from small, quiet choices you make every day. In this video, I'll share 10 real rules I live by. No theories, no advice from books, just what's worked for me. If you've ever wondered how to feel grounded, peaceful, and truly alive after 60, stay with me. This might be the most important conversation you've had in a while. Rule number 1. Don't wait until you're sick to change how you eat. I used to think eating healthy was something people did after they got bad news. Like when the doctor finally says, your cholesterol's too high, or your blood pressure's out of control. That's when most folks start cutting back. That used to be me too. I'd wait until the pain showed up, until something scared me into change. But one day I woke up and thought, why wait? I was 66 at the time. I wasn't sick, not yet, but I was sluggish. My knees hurt more than they used to. I couldn't sleep well. I got winded climbing stairs, and every morning I'd pour sugar into my coffee and call it normal. I'd skip breakfast or eat whatever was easy. I thought, well, I've made it this far. I deserve comfort. But you know what I realized? The real comfort is waking up and feeling good. Waking up without heartburn. Going to the bathroom without issues. Sleeping through the night without tossing and turning. That's comfort. And I wasn't getting it. So I made a decision. I didn't go on a diet. I didn't follow a fancy program. I just started changing a few small things. I started eating oatmeal instead of sugary cereal. I swapped out white bread for whole grain. I stopped drinking soda at home. I added blueberries to my morning. I made vegetables part of every lunch and dinner, even if it was just some spinach on the side. I kept it simple. Nothing extreme. Nothing that made me miserable. And over time, I started feeling different. Better. Not younger, but lighter. I didn't get sick as often. My blood pressure stayed in check. My joints ached less. I had more energy to play with my grandkids or take a walk after dinner. The biggest change? I stopped looking at food as a reward and started looking at it as a tool to help me stay here longer, to stay upright, mobile, and clear-headed. I wanted to be present, not just alive. Now, I know everyone's got their own habits, their own cravings, their own way of doing things. But if I could go back and tell my younger self one thing, it would be this. Do not wait until your body forces you to eat better. Choose it now, while you still have the chance. Eating healthy doesn't have to be punishment. It can be an act of self-respect. And at this age, we've earned the right to treat ourselves with care, not just comfort. Rule number 2. Turn off the news and turn on music instead. I used to have the news playing all day long. The television would be on from morning till night, not because I was really watching it, but because it made the house feel less empty. The voices, the updates, the breaking stories. It was something to fill the silence. But here's what I didn't realize. That background noise? It wasn't harmless. It was slowly draining me. Every headline seemed louder than the last. Every story more negative. Politics, crime, disasters. It felt like the world was on fire 24 hours a day. And after a while, I started feeling it. I was more tense. I was sleeping less. I caught myself being snappy with my son or distracted when my granddaughter spoke to me, and I didn't know why. Then one evening, after dinner, I turned off the television. Just silence. I stood in the kitchen and turned on the radio. Oldie station. A soft country song came on, something from the 1970s, and I stood there just listening. And I smiled. It was like a fog lifted. I felt a part of myself come back. Not the younger me, but the calmer me. The one who used to whistle while working in the garage. The one who danced in the living room with my wife before the kids came along. So I made a decision. The television would no longer be my daily companion. I'd limit my news to 15 minutes a day, just enough to stay informed. The rest of the time, music. Sometimes I play classical in the morning with my coffee. Sometimes it's blues in the evening. Sometimes it's just the sound of rain from a playlist. But every time I choose music over noise, I feel better. I feel more human, more alive. Now, I am not saying the news doesn't matter. It does. But you don't have to let it live in your home, rent-free, all day. Especially at our age, our nervous systems have already carried a lifetime of stress. We do not need more. What we need is rhythm, peace, melody, even silence. Music reminds us that not everything has to be solved or worried about. Some things are just meant to be felt. And sometimes, a song can say what we need to hear more than any news anchor ever could. Rule number 3, schedule alone time, even if you live with family. These days, I live with my son and his family. I am lucky. They are good people. My daughter-in-law makes me tea in the afternoon. My grandson shows me how to use the television remote every other week. There is laughter in the house. There is life. But there is also noise, constant movement, schedules, appointments, school drop-offs, phone calls. And sometimes I find myself overwhelmed, not because of anything they do wrong, but because I am no longer built for that kind of pace. I used to think needing space was selfish, that if I stepped away from the kitchen or didn't want to join them for every movie night, I was being ungrateful. But I've learned that space is not about distance. It is about preservation. So I started carving out time for myself each day. Nothing grand. Just 30 minutes. After lunch, while the others are busy, I go out to the back porch. I sit in the same chair. I bring a book I might not read, or a cup of coffee. Sometimes I just sit and listen. To the wind, to the birds, to nothing at all. That 30 minutes, it's mine. It resets me. It gives me a sense of stillness that the rest of the day cannot. It reminds me that I still exist outside the roles of dad, grandpa, or house guest. I am still a man with thoughts, memories, and breath. You do not have to be alone to need alone time. You just have to be honest enough to say, I need a pause. Some folks meditate, others pray. For me, it is silence. That quiet half hour makes me a better family member. It keeps me from snapping. It keeps me grounded, and it helps me enjoy the chaos a little more when I return to it. You don't have to go on a vacation to feel rested. Sometimes, all you need is a chair, a window, and permission to be still. Rule number 4. Downsize early, before it becomes urgent. For years after the kids moved out, I stayed in the same house. 4 bedrooms, 2 stories, a yard that needed mowing every week, gutters that needed cleaning, and closets that were filled with boxes I had not opened in a decade. Every time someone suggested I think about moving or cleaning out the place, I'd say the same thing. I'm not ready. Truth is, I was not ready emotionally. That house held memories. The bedrooms still carried echoes of laughter from years ago. The kitchen was where we celebrated birthdays and holidays. The living room still had the scratch marks on the floor from when the boys played with their toy trucks. How could I let that go? But here's what I learned. Letting go of a house is not the same as letting go of the memories. The house was too big for me. I did not need 4 bedrooms. I did not need stairs that made my knees ache every morning. I did not need to carry laundry up and down like I was still 50. The truth is, I was holding on out of fear. Fear of change, fear of what comes next, fear of feeling smaller. One afternoon, I sat on the edge of my bed and realized it was time. Not because I was forced to, not because I had fallen or gotten sick, but because I finally accepted that less can be more. More peace, more safety, more freedom. So I started small. I picked one room, my garage. Every Saturday, I would go through one corner. I gave tools to my nephews. I donated things to the church. I let go of items I had not used in 20 years. And with every box that left the house, I felt lighter. Eventually, I moved into a smaller place, still comfortable, still warm, but manageable. I have 1 floor now. I can clean the whole place in an hour. No stairs, no maintenance stress, just space that fits who I am now, not who I used to be. And you know what surprised me? Downsizing did not make me feel less. It made me feel in control. I chose it before someone had to choose it for me. I chose it while I could still climb stairs, not after a fall. I chose it while I could drive to Goodwill myself, not wait for someone to clear my things without asking. If you are thinking about it, do not wait until it becomes urgent. Do not wait until your children are begging you to move. Do not wait until your body gives you no choice. Downsizing early is not giving up. It is growing wise. It is saying, I want to spend my energy on living, not maintaining. Rule number 5. Learn to say, can you show me that again? There was a time when I prided myself on knowing how to fix things. Broken faucets, squeaky doors, even an old lawnmower that nobody thought could run again. I could handle them. If I did not know how to do something, I would figure it out. I did not like asking for help, and I definitely did not like repeating myself or needing something repeated to me. But then the world started changing. Suddenly, my bank account was online. My doctor's office sent appointment reminders through an app. My grandson no longer answered the phone. He texted. Everything became digital. Taps, swipes, passwords, video calls. It felt like I had woken up in a world I no longer knew how to navigate. The first time my daughter tried to teach me how to use video calling, I nodded like I understood. Got it, I said. But later, I could not remember a thing. I felt frustrated, embarrassed. I sat there staring at the screen like it was mocking me. And for a moment, I thought about giving up. Thought about saying, forget it. I do not need this. But then I thought, why? Why give up just because it feels uncomfortable? So I did something I do not often do. I asked for help. I walked into the living room and said to my grandson, "Hey, buddy, can you show me that again?" Slowly this time. And you know what he did? He smiled. He sat beside me, took his time, and walked me through it step by step. He did not judge. He did not laugh. In fact, I think he liked being the teacher for once. From that day on, I made a promise to myself. I will never be afraid to say, "Can you show me that again?" Because learning something new at 70 is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength, a sign that I am still curious, still willing to grow, still part of this world. Nowadays, I can check my medical records on my tablet. I use online grocery orders. I can send a photo of my dinner to my cousin in Florida. None of this would have happened if I had stayed silent, nodding and pretending to know what I did not. Asking for help is not a loss of dignity. It is an invitation to connect, to grow, and to keep your brain young. The world will keep changing, but I would rather change with it than get left behind. And if it takes asking 2 or 3 times, that is all right. There is no shame in learning. There is only shame in letting fear stop you from trying. Rule number 6, treat doctor appointments like business meetings. Back when I was still working, I never missed a meeting. I showed up early, brought notes, asked questions, and followed up. That was how you did business. You took it seriously. But for some reason, when I retired, I stopped treating my own health with that same respect. I would show up to the doctor, nod along, say everything's fine, even when it was not. I would forget to mention the headaches, the joint pain, the fact that I was waking up 3 times a night. I told myself it was normal, just part of getting old. But ignoring something does not make it disappear. One year, I skipped my annual physical. Too busy, I told myself. I felt fine, but a few months later, I started getting dizzy out of nowhere. Could not stand up too fast. My balance felt off. I blamed it on age, but something told me to go get checked. Turns out, my blood pressure had crept up without me noticing. Could have been dangerous. Could have led to a stroke. That scared me. So I changed how I approached health. From that point on, I started treating my doctor's appointments the way I used to treat my work meetings. I write down my questions ahead of time. I bring a list of medications. I track how I have been feeling during the week, and I bring that with me. I ask for clarity when I do not understand. I request printouts of results. I speak up, not because I am complaining, but because this is my body, and I want to know how it is doing. Doctors are busy. They do not have time to dig for every detail. But if I come prepared, if I treat it seriously, then I get better care. And I do not miss appointments anymore. Not for a flu shot, not for a checkup, not for anything. Because if I want to be here, present, mobile, mentally sharp, I have to make my health a priority. Retirement is not the time to stop caring. It is the time to care more. Because now, I finally have the time to do it right. Rule number 7. Give each day a name. When I first retired, I thought I would love the freedom. No alarm clocks, no meetings, no deadlines. For the first few weeks, I really did enjoy it. I stayed in bed a little longer, took long breakfasts, did whatever I wanted. But soon enough, the days began to blur. Tuesday felt like Thursday. Saturday felt like Monday. And before I knew it, whole weeks were slipping by and I could not remember what I had done with them. It was not that I was unhappy. I just felt directionless. That is when I came up with something simple that changed everything. I started giving each day a name. Monday became Call a Friend Monday. I would call someone from my past, a friend, an old coworker, even a cousin I had not spoken to in a while, just to catch up, hear a familiar voice, reconnect. Tuesday became Tidy Tuesday. I picked one area of the house, a drawer, a shelf, a closet, and cleaned it. No pressure to do the whole house, just one small task that made me feel productive. Wednesday? That was Walk and Watch Wednesday. I would take a longer walk than usual and then come home and watch an old movie from my collection. Something that made me laugh or reminded me of my younger days. Thursday turned into Try Something New Thursday. Sometimes it was a new recipe. Other times I would try a new route for my walk or read a book outside my usual type. It gave me a reason to stretch myself even in small ways. Friday was Family Friday. I would write letters to my grandchildren or go through old photo albums. Sometimes I would take my son or daughter-in-law out for coffee. Just a way to stay close and make time. Saturday was Slow Down Saturday. No agenda, no expectations, just rest, maybe a nap, maybe some music, maybe nothing at all. And Sunday became Spiritual Sunday. Not always church, sometimes just reading something uplifting, sitting in quiet reflection, or writing in a gratitude journal. It might sound silly, I know, but naming the days gave my life a gentle rhythm again. It gave each morning a sense of intention. I no longer woke up wondering what I was going to do. I already knew. It is not about being busy. It is about being present, about feeling like your time matters, even when you have all the time in the world. Rule number 8. Buy things that make life easier, not just cheaper. There was a time in my life when the cheapest option was the only option. I was raising a family, paying off a mortgage, watching every dollar. Back then, I took pride in finding deals, in fixing things myself, in stretching what we had. And I still believe in being smart with money. But now, in this season of life, I have learned something important. Value is not just about price. It is about how something makes your life feel. When I turned 68, I started having back pain every morning. The mattress I had been sleeping on for 15 years was still good enough by my old standards, but the truth was, it hurt. I kept telling myself I could live with it, but why should I? So I finally bought a new mattress, a good one. It cost more than I wanted to spend, but the first morning I woke up without pain, I looked at that bed like it was a miracle. That taught me something. I started looking at the little things I used every day, my shoes, my coffee mug, my reading chair. I upgraded where it mattered. Not because I wanted to be fancy, but because comfort, especially in older age, is not a luxury. It is a necessity. I bought a recliner with proper lumbar support. I got a set of silverware with thicker handles that are easier on my hands. I bought a pill organizer with large letters and a clock that speaks the time out loud. These were not vanity purchases. They were tools for dignity, for independence, for ease. There are still things I do not waste money on. I do not chase trends. I do not upgrade electronics just to keep up. But if something makes my daily life more comfortable, more efficient, or more peaceful, it is worth it. You spend your youth saving money so you can have peace later. Well, this is later. This is what you saved for. Give yourself permission to buy the chair that supports your back, the blender that is easier to clean, the shoes that do not hurt after a walk. At 70, I do not need more things. I just need better ones. And when they help me live with less pain, more ease, and more joy, that is money well spent. Rule number 9, have the talk with your kids. This one took me the longest to face. Not because it is hard to talk about, but because you never feel like the time is right. For years, I avoided the talk. You know the one I mean. The one where you sit down with your children and talk about what happens after. After the fall. After the illness. After you are no longer able to speak for yourself. Or gone altogether. I did not want to upset them. I did not want them to think I was giving up. And honestly, part of me was scared to admit how close I might be to the end of the road. But here's what changed my mind. One day my daughter asked me where I kept my important documents. I realized she had no idea what bank I used, what kind of insurance I had, or what my wishes were if I ever landed in the hospital unconscious. She was trying to be gentle, but I saw the worry in her eyes. That night I sat down and wrote out everything. My will, my power of attorney, my end-of-life preferences. I made copies. I labeled them. I even wrote a short letter explaining why I had made certain choices. Then I invited both my kids over. We had dinner, laughed, and after dessert, I brought out the envelope. Their faces went serious. I told them, this is not about death. This is about peace of mind for all of us. We went through it together. I answered their questions. And you know what? The room felt lighter afterward. Like we had just cleaned a room no one wanted to enter for years. Having that talk did not create distance. It created trust. My kids knew I was not avoiding the hard stuff. I was taking care of it while I still could. If you have not had that talk yet, do not wait. You are not being morbid. You are being responsible. And more than that, you are giving your family a gift, the gift of clarity, the gift of knowing your wishes, the gift of not having to guess. Do it while you are healthy, while you can laugh about it, while it is still just paperwork, not panic. Having the talk is not the end. It is the beginning of peace, of preparation, and of a deeper kind of love. Rule number 10. Write down what makes you smile and do more of it. I never used to write things down. I was always the kind of man who kept things in his head. Dates, names, ideas, they all lived up there bouncing around. But as I got older, I noticed that things slipped away more easily. I would walk into a room and forget why. I would think of something lovely and then lose it by lunchtime. It bothered me at first. I felt like I was losing pieces of myself. Then one day, I came across a little notebook in the back of my desk drawer. I do not even remember buying it. The cover was plain. The pages were blank. And for some reason, that afternoon, I opened it and wrote a single sentence. Today, I smiled when my grandson called me old man and then hugged me anyway. That was it. Just one sentence, but it stuck with me. The next night, I did it again. Today, I smiled when the coffee was just the right temperature. The night after that, something else. A good song, a passing dog, a slice of peach pie. Before I knew it, I had a habit. Every evening, before bed, I sit down with that little notebook and I ask myself, what made me smile today? Not what went wrong, not what hurt. Just what brought joy even for a second. Sometimes it is something big. A phone call from an old friend, a letter in the mail. Other times, it is as small as sunlight on the kitchen table. And here is the secret. Once I started noticing what made me smile, I started doing more of it. If a certain tea made me smiles, I drank it again the next day. If listening to the birds on my morning walk made me happy, I slowed down and stayed longer. That little notebook became more than just a record. It became a guide. It reminded me that joy does not have to be rare or dramatic. It can be found in the ordinary if you are paying attention. I keep the notebook by my bed now. I have filled one and started a second. They are not full of deep thoughts or perfect sentences, just moments. Proof that even in aging, even in loss, even in the quietest days, life is still giving gifts. And the beautiful thing is, when I have a hard day and they still come, I can open those pages and remember all the small reasons I had to smile. It grounds me. It lifts me. It tells me, keep going. There is more. If I could suggest one small habit to end your days with, this would be it. Write down what made you smile. Then go out tomorrow and look for another one. The road ahead is still yours. So there they are. 10 rules. 10 quiet truths I have learned, not from books or experts, but from living. Not all at once, not perfectly, but slowly over time, through trial and error, through good days and bad ones, through long walks and hard talks, through laughter and silence. I am 70 years old now. Some days, my back aches. Some mornings, the coffee does not taste quite right. Some nights, I miss the sound of voices that are no longer here. But I also wake up every day knowing that I still have choices. I can choose what I eat. I can choose how I treat my body. I can choose who I give my time to. I can choose to ask for help when I need it. I can choose to enjoy the sunshine, the music, the memories, and the small smiles that still find their way to me. Retirement is not the end of the road. It is the stretch of road where things slow down just enough for you to notice the view, to breathe deeper, to live with intention. And if you are watching this, you still have time. Time to live lighter. Time to live wiser. Time to live well. So take what spoke to you today. Maybe it was one rule. Maybe it was all 10. Try one this week. Just one. See how it feels. Because no matter your age, no matter your past, this chapter is still yours to write. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself. You have earned the right to live this life with peace, with pride, and with purpose. Until next time.